You know how your future, your destiny is ever before you, but you don't know exactly what steps to take next? So I'm 29. In order to be president of the United States of America, you have to be apparently 45 years old. That is about 15 or 16 years away from me. Now, if I got to be the president of the United States of America, a land of the free and the home of the brave, a land where all nations are welcome, right? I'm gonna turn around so y'all can see. How do you want your country to be in 15 years? Do you want it to be free? Do you want it to be ruled by tyranny? Do you want it to be ruled by oppression? Do you want it to be ruled by a wicked government that has Satan in control and has some antichrist in control trying to put 666 on people's right hand or forehead? Is that the kind of America you want? No, it's not the kind of America I want. So in 15 years, I hope I will become a president of the United States. I hope that y'all can see that this country was created free, conceived in liberty by God, by those founders up on that mountain, by Washington. He fought against a king, right? King George of England, and didn't want tyranny over his people, right? And I don't want tyranny over my people in the future either. Jesus don't want it neither. So, yeah, here we go. We're going to start preaching. Every nation in the world should be welcomed here in America. We're a free country. We live with godly values, godly morals, godly principles, and we've had problems, right? I've got a story to tell you about that man on the right up there, Abraham Lincoln. My dad, Fred Weiss, who I told you about in the other YouTube video, right? He taught me about the American Civil War when I was a little boy, about the South and about the North, and how they fought a great war, right, over the issue and topic of slavery in America, black people being freed from our own personal tyranny. But the story of America goes way, way, way back, way before white man ever landed in this land. I talked with y'all about the Vikings if you're following me on the Beowulf journey, right? So the people who lived in this land well before we came here had a history that preceded us way back into like the time of Noah, right? There was a great flood on the earth, and God sent Noah to build an ark. And you guys can go see that down in the Creation Museum, the Ark Encounter, right? And, Abraham Lincoln, for what he did in keeping our nation united, right? With George Washington founding our nation, right? And kind of giving this nation its freedom. And then, Thomas Jefferson guiding that freedom with his pen, right? He wasn't necessarily a believer in Jesus Christ. He believed in God's values, right? But he took the miracles out of the Bible. That's what I learned at college at Northwestern. So Thomas Jefferson saw the goodness of God's law, but he didn't believe in the miracles, right? Theodore Roosevelt was a lot like, our buddy Steve Irwin, right? He was a conservationist, a pioneer, so to speak. He fought in wars, and, he kind of honestly did the genius idea of creating national parks, right? The first national park systems were created by Teddy Roosevelt. And so that's a great idea. Honestly, like conserving nature and conserving the beauty of our land, that's a wonderful thing. Native Americans were doing that well before white people came here. But Abraham Lincoln, right? A man who believed in God, who believed in the principles of democracy. I got to go to where that dude's buried. He's got the second most visited tomb in the world behind Jesus Christ. You know Jesus Christ, right? He rose from the dead, conquered death, hell, and our sin, right? He's got the most visitors per year. The second is Abraham Lincoln. And I got to visit his tomb, I think about 5 years ago now, right? So I keep looking at him, and you're looking at me. But yeah, imagine you doing something so great one day somebody wants to carve your face up on a mountain. And not with like a stoic smile, like imagine a beaming smile. Like that, That'd be sweet. You could do that. That could happen to you one day. You could do something so great to change the world that somebody want to carve your face up on a mountain. That's awesome. All right, but Abraham Lincoln, right? I want to speak about Native American justice because I love Native Americans and I love their story and their culture and their way and their faith, right? And the Creator. And some of them believe in Jesus Christ, some of them don't. That's a conversation for maybe another time. I've been welcomed into their community. This YouTube channel is not as popular as apparently, other videos of me that are kind of going all around social media, TikTok, which I'm not even on. I think it's really just a temptation scheme, in my opinion. I like Facebook. I like YouTube. I think they're good things are on there, right? And that's kind of the things that I'm kind of promote myself and things on. But yeah, Abraham Lincoln, right? So he helped keep this country together during a time of great crisis when brothers were at war over the issue and topic of slavery and states' rights in our country, right? And the world sees him at large as one of the greatest leaders of our modern era. But even Abraham Lincoln, right, in his greatness and in what he did do for the good of our nation, I think he overlooked some of the things that he shouldn't have, right? So I'm from Minnesota, right? And in Minnesota, I learned a story from the Lakota people about how the governor, Alexander Ramsey, a white man, when he became governor of Minnesota, he decided that he was going to make peace between the natives, and they had a treaty signed just down south of where my dad's farm is in St. Peter, right? St. Peter, Minnesota. And the white people were not true to their word as the Native Americans were. They were put on reservations, they were starved to death, they were killed, and Alexander Ramsey was the one that was kind of the one in control at the time, right? That ain't right. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, is what Martin Luther King Jr. said, right? Right? We all know who that man was. We get a holiday for him. We get work off because of that dude, and he was killed for what he said and believed in, So what I'm trying to say is, though, the powwow, right, that happened, I think in the 70s, there were 38 men by Abraham Lincoln's hand that were executed in Mankato because they were fighting for their families. They were fighting for the preservation, right, the preservation of their way of life that had been brutally taken from them, right, because of this governor, right? Hey, and just because a man does a great thing in one society but overlooks justice from another person's perspective, that doesn't make it great. I still love Abraham Lincoln. I just think that he should have seen the injustices that the Native Americans went through, and he should have arbitrated on their behalf. Instead of signing off on their execution and hanging them in Mankato, he should have been like, why is there a Dakota War going on during the Civil War? Why are Dakota uprisings killing pioneered settlers in that land? Like, what's going on there? Instead of just, sign off and have them executed and hung, figure out, seek justice, actually what the Bible teaches as a Christian. What does the Lord require of you, O man? But to seek justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. So yes, those men were hung in Mankato at the signing of Abraham Lincoln, right? At the hand of Abraham Lincoln, right? The man of the Gettysburg Address, the man who kept the Union together, right? And the tribe, right? The Dakota people, on the 100-year anniversary of those men's hangings, they had a powwow and they took a war hatchet, right? And that symbolizes the tribe going to war on whatever cause they deem just, right? And while your people are being starved on a conservation, that would to me seem like a just war, to try and, hey, we want our land back. We want food that you've promised us that you're not giving to us. What's going on? On the 100-year anniversary, I heard it from a man who was a part of the tribe himself. They took that hatchet and they buried it in the ground in Mankato, signifying that they forgave the U.S. government for their sins. Really, just because our government has qualities that are admirable and godly doesn't mean that the people that are actually in the government do what they should do. And so what I'm saying to you is this, right? As an American, we need to live free and be free and help put people in the right places to continue the freedom that was already here prior to white man. There was freedom in the tribes. The chiefs of old, that's why I have a ring on my finger that is chief. It's Native American, right? The chiefs of old had a good way. They protected their families. They loved liberty. They loved life. Honestly, I liked, reading about Thomas Jefferson and John Adams and all these early, what they call the founding fathers of America. There were founders of America way before America was America. And you guys have already heard through my journey to Bear Butte about the history and origins of the name of America, right? But yeah, what I'm trying to tell you is this, right? Those men, I do see as great men. Some people hate them. I don't. I try and love people, right? I try and respect those who have come before me. But I think that even as a white person living in this land, we should respect those who have come before us. Not try and tyrannize, not try and oppress, but try and live free and be free, right? So that's what I have to say regarding true American history, Native American history, as well as my American history, right? And I still, it's a beautiful work of art. And Crazy Horse is also beautiful work of art. It needs to be finished, in my opinion, because there's beauty in both of our stories, and there's beauty in unity, right? I think the way I see America and the way I see my Native American friends, I see that friendship and unity is something from Wakan, something from the Holy Spirit, right? And I hope that this nation will have that freedom in the future and also forever in the kingdom of heaven. Because honestly, the glory of our nation that has existed for the last 200 some years, right? It's nothing compared to God's kingdom. He makes the kingdoms and the nations as dust on the scales. God's kingdom is going to be far more glorious than any kingdom that man could make or sculpt. I believe that. So I've got some other things I want to do. I'm going to stop the video there, and I'll probably start a different preaching. But thank you for coming with me to the glorious sight of Mount Rushmore, because it is truly glorious. Our story as a people, our story as a whole people, not just the white people, not just the native people, not just the black people, but the whole story of the human race is powerful. And so, yeah, hope we can learn more about that story together. Peace.